Hey, good evening, everybody. How you doing out there? Let's warm that up, get the shouting going, you know? More will come, but in the meantime, you have to do yeoman's work, shouting for all the other people. And big hello to all those kids playing baseball out back there, too. You're going to get to hear a great concert while you play baseball. And everybody else using this park, it's kind of a cool thing. Welcome, my friends, to another night, a family night at the bandstand, the My FM Family Night at the Bandstand, produced by Claflin Hills Symphony Orchestra, our 30th season. And this is the second evening of this summer series. Tonight we bring you the Fantasy Big Band, and they're sponsored by Unibank over there. Say hello to my friend Helgi. He was on the radio with me yesterday morning. He did a great job. I don't know, is that the first time you've been on the radio, Helgi? Oh, good. Well, you did very good. And I think he enjoyed himself. He's over there. He's got all sorts of, like, nice swag for you to take home. You know, it's like Hollywood. You come to Milford Town Park, you go home with a swag bag. They even have the bag to put it in. And, you know, you never can use too many, you know, of those refrigerator clips and the grocery bags and everything else. So, cash. Yeah, well, you know, they have a very good CD going there. We have one at Claflin Hill. Actually, Unibank is the sort of residence of the future Claflin Hill Endowment Fund. So all the money I've been able to save for 30 years is actually sitting over there with Helgi at Unibank. And someday it'll multiply 1,000-fold, maybe 100,000-fold. We'll see. What's the interest rate right now? I don't know if I'm going to live that long. But at any rate, he's a great guy. And go and say hi to him and thank Unibank for supporting community and culture. They're a big sponsor of the symphony during the symphony season as well. And by the way, he's also about to be Milford's newest Rotary member. So, and I think he's slated to be president of the club next year. You know, as soon as you miss a meeting, you're the president next year. Sorry about that, buddy. At any rate, got a great band, great heritage music that will be timeless, and people will be listening to the music of the American swing era 100 years from now. It'll be equated with Beethoven and Mozart. And some of these guys actually went to high school with some of those guys, I think. And most of them I saw last night rehearsing in the Claflin Hill Symphony Summer Winds as well. So it's a beautiful thing. Musicians at work, working every night. Where's tonight's gig? That's what we're trying to accomplish here, and we do it with your support. So, Kent, you ready? All right. And I know we're going to start with our national anthem, so be prepared.
Our first casualty. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise if you can and join us in singing the national anthem. Good evening, Milford. It's great to be back again. And you're going to help us celebrate our 30th year in existence. formed in 1995. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ken Koshan, and I'd like to introduce you to 16 of my closest friends, collectively known as the Fantasy Big Band. Jumping at the Woodside, a little Count Basie there for you to start things off. So, it came to my attention years ago that in the Mass General laws, there's a regulation that says if you're going to play an outdoor concert, you have to play a march. And we only have one march in the book, and we're going to play it for you right now. This is Glenn Miller's St. Louis Blues March. introduce you to a couple of the guys doing the honors on tenor one tonight. Mr. Mike Crowley. His whole family's here. Yeah, and also on alto one, lead alto tonight, Mr. Tom Newtley. So we're going to take you on a little tour of the big band era, and we're going to play all the signature tunes of those famous band leaders. So here's a signature tune from the Dorsey Band. This is called Opus Number 1. All right, there's some great clarinet work here, and between Tom and the gentleman who's going to do our next tune. This is an Artie Shaw tune. This is called Begin to Begin. Would you please welcome Mr. Warren Barnes. principal clarinet with the Claflin Hills Symphony Orchestra. I'll use a different term tonight. Cross-pollinating with the Fantasy Big Band. So, what would a big band concert be without Duke Ellington? Here are a couple of his signature tunes. Starting with Take the A Train. Yes, doing the jazz trumpet honors tonight, Mr. Roger Grover. So here's one of Duke's other signature tunes. We're sending this out to all you satin dolls. Also on lead trombone tonight, Mr. Dick McGrath. And over there in that big horn, Neil McNana. Also cross-pollinating from the Claflin Hills Summer Winds. All right, well, we're going to continue with the Duke, and we're going to get Don Ryan there behind his guitar to do one of the Duke's tunes, one of the Don't tunes. Just do nothing till you hear it from me.
Do nothing till you hear from me. Pay no attention to what's said. Why people tear the seams of anyone's dream, it's over my head. Do nothing till you hear from me. At least consider our romance. If you should take the words of others you've heard, I haven't a chance. True, I've been seen with someone new, but does that mean that I'm untrue when we're apart? The words in my heart reveal how I feel about you. Some kiss may cloud my memory, and other arms may hold the thrill. But please do nothing till you hear it from me, and you never will. Someone new, what does that mean? That I'm untrue when we're apart? The words in my heart reveal how I feel about you. Some kiss may cloud my memory, and other arms may hold a thrill. But please do nothing till you hear it from me, and you never will. Please do nothing till you hear it from me, and you never will. Don't tell your mama. Thank you very much. Been around for Mike Crowley down there with a tenor solo, big time.
So we're going to try and get Don to sing another one, and the rest of the band is going to ask him politely. Here we go.
Everybody, come on and swing. Looks like you got the world on a string.
I've got the world on a string, sitting on a rainbow. Got that string around my finger. What a world, what a life. I'm in love. I've got a song that I sing. I can make the rain go anytime I move my finger. Lucky me, can't you see I'm in love? Life is a beautiful thing. As long as I hold that string, I'd be a silly so-and-so if I should ever let it go. I've got the world on a string, sitting on a rainbow. Got that string around my finger. What a world, what a life. I'm in love. Life is a beautiful thing. As long as I hold that string, I'd be a silly so-and-so if I should ever let it go. I've got the world on a string, sitting on a rainbow. Got that string around my finger. What a world, what a life. What a world, what a life. I'm in love. I'm in love. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So I'm going to slow it down a little bit and also bring in another band leader. Here's a Harry James tune. This is called You Made Me Love You. Doing the honors, Mr. Freddie Ramos there on first trumpet. Here we go. Freddie Ramos blowing the lights out back there. Yeah, yeah. So, by my watch, I know what time it is, and back at my house at this time, it's Miller time. So, we're going to play a Miller set here, and we're going to start off with a tune that hit #1 on the charts in February of 1941, and we're going to let the band tell you the name of it. Say hello to Mr. Adam Weber on that bone solo. And while I'm at it, there with all the plumbing on his horn, that bass bone, Mr. Chris Reedy. We're going to give the front line another workout here. This is Glenn Miller's Stringer Pearls. And last but not least on the front line, Mr. Ernie Barriolo there, tenor 2. He's back. Oh, now it's audience participation time. And I get to use not a musical instrument, but a 1941 Stromberg Carlson telephone. For the longest running phone number in New York City. Here it is, and you'll know your part when it comes around. some of the folks you haven't met yet. Back there in the back line on trumpet 3, Mr. Paul Tomaszewski. Over there on trumpet 4, Kevin Donegan. Oh, I forgot, the heartbeat of the band, Mr. Rick Blair. All right, well, we're going to cue the lighting guy. We're going to start the mirror ball going, and we're going to get Tom Newtley up here, and we're going to do Moonlight Serenade.
Okay. Yeah, didn't know the words.
Tom Newtley back there. So, for our next tune, we're going to end our set and take a short break, but we're going to have to ask you to use your imagination a little bit. It's not a beautiful summer night. It's a winter day, January 16th. 1938. New York City. It's very cold. There's a little bit of snow, but something special is happening. It's the first time jazz was heard in Carnegie Hall. And on stage was Benny Goodman and his band. And we have a transcription of one of the great tunes of that night. This is exactly the way it was played. So, for you, this is Sing, Sing, Sing. Henry Morrell back here. Henry Morrell and the Fantasy Big Band. We're going to take a short break, rest our chops. Back in about 15 minutes. All right, we're back. So, tonight, we brought you two things. We brought you a great band. The Fantasy Big Band. And a great vocalist, Mr. Don Ryan.
What are all these people doing here on my lawn? I don't know. We're all invited for dinner. All right, here we go. Come fly with me. Fly, let's fly away. If you could use some exotic booze, there's a bar in Firebomb Bay. Come fly with me. Let's fly away. Come fly with me, let's float down to Peru. In Llama Land, there's a one-man band, and he'll tune his flute for you. Fly with me, let's take off in the blue. Once I get you up there, where the air is rarefied, or we'll just glide starry-eyed. Once I get you up there, I'll be holding you so near. You may hear angels cheer, 'cause we're together weather-wise. It's such a lovely day. Just say the words and we'll beat the birds down to Acapulco Bay. Well, it's perfect for a flying honeymoon, they say. Come fly with me, let's fly away. Once I get you up there, where the air is rarefied, or we'll just glide starry-eyed. Once I get you up there, I'll be holding you so near. You may hear angels cheer, 'cause we're together weather-wise. It's such a lovely day. Just say the words and we'll beat the birds down to Acapulco Bay. Well, it's perfect for a flying honeymoon, they say. Come fly with me, let's fly. Back up, let's fly away. Thank you. Thank you very much. What's that?
Grace, we'll see you later. Okay, good luck. Yeah, thank you.
Here we call numbers. fingers in my hair. That's like come hither stare. That strips my conscience bare. It's witchcraft. And I've got no defense for it. The heat is too intense for it. What good would common sense for it do? 'Cause it's witchcraft, wicked witchcraft. And although I know it's strictly taboo, when you arouse a need in me, my heart says yes indeed in me. Proceed with what you're leading me to. It's such an ancient pitch, but one I wouldn't switch, 'cause there's no nicer witch than you. 'Cause it's witchcraft, wicked witchcraft. And although I know it's strictly taboo, when you arouse the need in me, my heart says yes indeed in me. Proceed with what you're leading me to. It's such an ancient pitch, but one I wouldn't switch, 'cause there's no nicer witch than you. Witchcraft, wicked witchcraft. Thank you. We're going to send this out to everybody with a boat. Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me, my lover stands on golden sand and watches the ships that go sailing. Somewhere beyond the sea, she's there watching for me. If I could fly like birds on high, then straight to her arms I'd go sailing. It's far beyond the star, it's near beyond the moon. I know beyond a doubt my heart will lead me there soon. Will beyond the shore. We'll kiss just as before. Happy we'll be beyond the sea, and never again I'll go sailing. Beyond the star, it's near beyond the moon. I know beyond a doubt my heart will lead me there soon. We'll meet beyond the shore. We'll kiss just as before. Happy we'll be beyond the sea, and never again I'll go sailing. No more sailing. I found my love beyond the sea. Thank you very much.
So we're going to dive back into the swing era again after we spent some time in the 50s and 60s. And you're going to go back with the Benny Goodman tune. Get Tom Newley to pick up the clarinet again. This is called Don't Be That Way.
Yeah.
Okay, this next tune I put on every playlist, and whether we're playing a dance, a fundraiser, outdoor concert, whatever it may be, we always play this tune, and I do it on purpose. So this tune is dedicated to all of the men and women that have served our country, especially the greatest generation in World War II. This is Glenn Miller's American Patrol. Yep. Yeah, the dancing brass. So this next tune, I always ran a trivia contest for the last I don't know, 10, 15 years. And what I used to do, especially when we played like at Mosley's on the Charles in ballroom dancing, I used to tell them that if anyone answered this question correctly, they could have my van. It was a 1998 Ford Windstar with 211,000 miles on it. So they'd be doing me a favor. So I've upgraded. So I'm still going to run the contest, but I'm afraid someone's going to win because it's now a 2004 Freestar with an inspection sticker with a big R on it. Uninspectable. Only 160,000 miles. Well, I can't believe it. So anyway, if you get the answer to this trivia question correctly, you don't win the van. That's the good news. So the trivia question is, what was the first ever gold record? What was the first record that a record company said, this is fantastic, we sold a lot of records, let's give the artist a gold record? So what was the first gold record?
You just lost your van. How are we going to get home?
I don't know. Or how are we going to do the gig tomorrow night? You've been here before. I know. You're right. He learned this at Hopedale last week. If you played before, you can't play again. Okay. Here we go. There goes the surprise. We'll play White Christmas instead. Okay, we're going to slow it down a little bit and get Don to sing one for us.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom, me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, bright blessed day, dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. With the colors of the rainbow so pretty in the sky are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Colors of the rainbow so pretty in the sky, they're also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying how do you do? They're really saying I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take you out with a tune. I found the spring before we started rehearsing. I dusted it off. We ran it down in rehearsal. We're going to play it for you now, and we're going to take a little vote at the end. We're going to see if you think it's going to be a hit. Here we go. Well, what do you think? You think it's going to be a hit? We think so. Hey, you've been a great crowd. It's been a beautiful night. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Unibank. We hope to see you again next year, and we hope we've put you in the mood. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up one more time for the Fantasy Big Band. Thank you, everyone. See you next year.